Either.
Hello.
That was pretty cool.
That was pretty
Yeah.
cool. I just realized the chat's not running, so we're trying to get the chat to go here.
I just saw Queenan on there.
All right. Well, we don't have it on ours, which is a little weird. That's fine. That's all right.
Queenan's on his way there now.
Well, you're in charge of chat, Pluso, because me and
Yeah,
Scott
have a
can't
good
see
time,
it, so.
Queenan.
Brian's the man.
Let's
He's
get
like,
Queen
oh, yeah.
to do a
He's
live
here.
report from.
Exactly.
There you go. There you
Queenan,
go.
how friggin' cold was it on that coaster?
Oh, well, we're gonna tell you because we experienced that shit firsthand.
Nice.
So
Nice.
all right.
Yeah.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 11 of Some Great Adventures, a podcast where old friends who met and worked together at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey, chat about our time at the park. I am Steve Hicks. My co-hosts are
Scott Loudon.
Chris Peluso.
I'm Andy Olay.
awesome. Our podcast continues to be made possible by our friends at the Shared Universe Podcast Studio. Look them up for any and all of your podcast needs. We're recording live via Facebook Live. Well, me and Scott can't see shit, but everybody else can. So Peluso will monitor that. The video will be available on our Facebook page immediately. The audio version of the podcast will be up in a few days, depending on how lazy I get, but usually it's within a few days. I will note that there was like a long song for the poor people not watching this live that are just hearing this 2-minute and 45-second Christmas song to open. That's because they actually did a 2016 video. It was a promo for Six Flags for Holiday in a Park, and that's what we were playing. So unfortunately, you don't get to see it unless you're on the live stream. But it was, I have to say, it kind of blew me away because it's what made me want to go to Holiday in a Park this year and actually experience it, since I don't think any of us has ever gone. I haven't. Scott, did you?
No, never.
And I don't think you did, Andy, right?
No, I've
And
never been there for the winter.
Peluso,
No,
nope,
I couldn't
right?
believe that the coasters, when we found that out, I couldn't believe they were open.
Okay, so
Yeah,
yeah,
that was one of the
Yeah.
first things I thought was, how well do those things run when it's like 45
Hey,
degrees?
they ran well.
And
We
how?
actually got on fucking Jersey Devil for the first time in our lives.
Finally.
Wow! Wow!
and I will tell you, it was cold. It was fucking cold. We went on Jersey Devil and we went on Superman, and Superman was worse. That was like frostbite in the fucking face.
yeah, man.
Jersey Devil
That
wasn't
sounds
that bad.
miserable.
Well, here's the thing. Jersey Devil, we rode on the front and it was fantastic. As a ride, it was awesome. And if you're in the front seat, it is so fucking smooth. It is not funny. It was amazing.
Yeah.
And then there was nobody in the park. So the guys were like, if you want to go back on, just stay on. But I was like, oh, we want to go in the back. So I get out, Scott gets out, I go run in the back. Scott goes to get in the back and his seat's cordoned off as broken and they don't let him on. He gets booted over to the exit. So I go on by myself in the back.
Chris, just like we're crew. Get in the back of the pickup. That's what I'm talking about.
Always second fiddle.
Although I told him as I came into the station, don't bother going on because this sucked in the back, man. The back rose me up on every drop and cracked my fucking legs into the bar so hard. I was in drastic pain by the time I got off in the back. And I'm like, wow, what a difference between front and back. The cooler thing they have on Jersey Devil is they have a flexible harness. So it's like, it's kind of to keep you, if you wiggle out from hopefully falling out of the ride, but it really just moves in with you. It's pretty badass.
Yeah.
You have to see it yourself to understand what I'm talking about, but it's a flexible shoulder harness and it's pretty weird. You only have that in like your lap bar really. So it's a little weird contraption, but it's pretty fucking cool. I will say I was disappointed because I went 4 times this year and the first 3 times that fucker was never open. Not even a hint of it was opening up either. And this time I didn't think it was going to be open at all because obviously freezing cold, everything, right? Fully open, everything running beautifully. So it's a little surprising.
Did they have everything open? Or just a select few rides?
So-
the big ones.
Everything except the
big-
Western end.
Yep. And actually, funny enough,
See, those
Andy,
rides are old, man. They need the winter
West
off.
is best.
No.
West, it's winter, bitches.
you know why? All right. I'll
Lack
give you that one. I'll
of
give you that one.
interest.
But let's be honest. The reality was because West actually is the big boy rides and they require the most staff. Okay. And let's be honest. How many fucking coasters do you need in 0-degree weather? Because it was fucking freezing when we went. Log Flume's not going to open. Cables isn't open. And they're not going to, and there is no Rolling Thunder anymore. So all the other coasters, they're just not open either. Basically, I finally uploaded our walkthrough from the Holiday in a Park in its own folder on our Facebook page. I uploaded our Fright Fest walkthrough and I uploaded the food service walkthrough. So all those are now up. They all went up between Thanksgiving and now. In Holiday in a Park, there's a picture of, they just put a big ass barricade right before the entrance of Western, right where like Kong Photo used to be. That's all barricaded off. So those tents are open for merch, but that whole area is basically closed off. You can't go in West at all from there. So Western's the only section shut off. Everything else is
But
fully
that's
open.
still a lot of the park. Now, I do remember right after I left, they started like a Christmas, and I don't remember what they called it at the time.
Yep.
But it was just like the inner mall was open. It was like mostly just shops and that kind of thing.
Yep.
They did. I actually have notes on it.
They had like a Christmas hayride at one time.
Yeah. They did. I want to say it's Winter Lights. It's something like that.
Yeah, something like Magical Winter Lights or something.
Yeah, it started. Okay, so it started in 2002 as Winter Lights drive-through light display, which rumor has it, and I'm pretty sure this is correct because I don't remember. I'm going to say rumor because I don't remember who I heard it from, but the rumor was PNC had a fantastic light display, which they did because I actually went with my mom and she fucking loved it. Six Flags
Yeah, we used to go years ago.
Yeah, and Six Flags realized that makes sense for us to do, and they stole the PNC guys to do theirs. So theirs was literally an exact duplicate almost of PNC's because it was the same people that built PNC, same company or guys, I don't know, contractors, whatever you want to call it, but they basically brought those people over to do theirs and they set up a duplicate version.
Do you really need to steal the people? It's just like you wrap the lights up the trees. Like that's
Well, there's the displays though. I mean, it is a lot
Yeah.
of specific displays, I know you don't believe in Kwanzaa and you don't believe that Jewish people exist, but they do, Scott. They do. Okay. Those displays need to be there,
It's messed
not
up.
to get off topic, but I saw the most. I saw the most awesome like Facebook advertisement for the Jewish Space Laser Foundation. Like you could like buy a pin. Like it was pretty cool.
What the hell is that? I don't even know what you're talking about right now. All right, go back to your beer. Okay.
Get back on topic.
Yeah, let's get back on topic here. Jesus, off the rails already, Scott. Holy shit, boys. The one thing I will say, I did not know until one of those Facebook remembrance things popped up when I woke up today. We are exactly recording 1 year from the day we recorded the first episode.
No shit.
It was December 12th of last year.
Whoa,
We are on our 1 year anniversary. This is it. Yeah, 11
Cheers,
episodes,
boys.
1 year.
Woohoo.
Cheers, everybody.
Hey,
Now,
Oh
Chris,
yeah.
didn't you say that you would put on a Speedo and dance in front of the camera?
you did say that, Chris. You did
Next
say
one.
that. God
Next
damn
one.
it.
I didn't realize I'm unprepared.
You know, I'm going
The
to point
only-
out.
The
I'm
only
gonna point
reason.
out, Big Disney, Big Universal, even Big Hershey and Big Action Park said we couldn't do it. Not 1 year of talking about little ass Six Flags Great Adventure. I'm not gonna lie, I thought by March we might be done, but we found other shit to talk about. and we're
That's
still
right.
here.
That's right. Interesting or not, we talked.
That's right. We figured it out. We're still going.
Yeah, and at least 20% of it has to do with Great Adventure.
That's true. That's absolutely true. Oh shit. All right, so let's jump into it, boys. All right, so holidays in the park. We're going to define holidays in a park in a simple manner. It's not just holidays. It's anything that's an annual event at Six Flags. So it could be an actual holiday, meaning like a federal or state holiday. But in reality, we'll say if Six Flags does it annually, we'll consider it a holiday.
Duck races.
I didn't put duck races, but because they don't do them anymore, but that could be a holiday. That would have been a holiday. You're absolutely right. A charity event at the Rapids, duck races. I do agree. I think in our time, which is now stretched and it's a little bit different, the first holidays, if we're starting from the beginning of the year, would be we would consider would be probably opening and closing of the park. So that would be opening would be May during Memorial weekends when they go full time. Their weekends only, I believe, starting in March, and I think that was the same when we were there. And then in May, they actually at Memorial weekend. That was always like the cap off when we went full time. You guys agree?
Mhm.
Yeah, but there was always like Easter, which was weird because
That was an Easter break where they would make an
Yes.
exception to open for 1 full week. And that's true. I made a note about that. They did do that for spring break.
But
Yep.
while
I
we
was
were there,
almost
they would
fired
close
for
the
that.
park.
Why?
Well,
Because I was supposed to assume that anytime the park was open, with whether I would not, I wasn't told this at all. No communication, 16 years old, thinking, oh, I'm off for school. I'm going to have some time to be fat and just, play video games and whatnot. No, I was supposed to show up for work, and I apparently no-showed 3 times. And I was like, I
shit.
had no idea I was supposed to be here.
but your like supervisor didn't tell you, so it's on.
Oh,
there.
no, but she did call to say I was going to be terminated if I didn't show up. I was like, all you had to do is let me know,
Who
and I would
was
have
the
showed up.
supervisor?
Yeah, who is this soup?
Yeah, who was that?
Oh, what was her name? Was it Sue? She was. I can't
Sue
remember what her
Hegan?
name.
Who has?
Sue Hess or Sue Hegan?
I think Hess.
Wait, was she mean
would
or was she
remember Sue.
Irish? Big
She
question,
was
mean or Irish?
Short, thin, maybe about 5 years older
Blonde-
than me.
blonde hair?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I
that's my
think
ex-girlfriend.
so.
That's Sue Hess.
Yes, I believe so.
She's the
Yeah.
mean one. Yeah, she's
She-
the mean one, not the Irish
Yeah,
one.
I mean, she wasn't even that mean. She was kind of matter of fact about it. I was like, all you had to do was let me know. I had no idea.
Oh no! Look, we don't tell lies on this podcast. She was one of the most hated supervisors in the park.
Nice.
She was mean. Okay,
Nice.
yeah, she wasn't well liked. That's fine. And I highly doubt she's ever listening to anything that involves me. So we're fine. Yeah, I don't think I'll get sued for slander on this one. If I do, whatever. You were mean, bitch. I don't care.
Yeah.
Steve was in the background giggling while she was.
I probably
leaving a
was,
message for you.
Nice.
All right. So we would say that is our opening, and then closing is weird because closing was
Halloween.
well, it was September after Labor Day weekend was typically when we went weekends only. And then in our time, yes, closing was technically after Fright Fest. So right after we finished, as soon as we hit November, we were closed and then we would all be work crew and the park was actually done. However, then it went to Holidays in the Park. And so Holidays in the Park kept it open until like January 9th, which is when it's open now. Now it's open all the way through January 9th for Holidays in the Park. And Holidays in the Park is actually 2 separate things. It's during the weekends, it's what Nelia was talking about, where like me and Scott, when you're in the park is open, you can ride the rides. During the weekdays from 5 to 10 p.m., it's drive-through in the park only. So it's kind of like the Winter Lights thing, where you don't get out of your car till the end, where there's a Santa thing and you can go have your picture taken with Santa. And I will
Spend
say,
some money.
and spent a lot of money. It is expensive. That's one of the things I made a point of putting up on our holiday walkthrough was all the pricing, because they have all the like little signs up with the pricing for Santa. And I was like, we were going to get a Santa picture, and we'll talk about that when we get to the holidays in the park section. We were going to, but that motherfucker was never there. He was on break every goddamn time. So we saved money. We ended up not getting a picture.
He was
But-
dropping a Yule-log
Yeah,
in
he
the
was
bathroom.
dropping a
He
Yule-log.
was-
We saw him come out of the bathroom. It was pretty funny. But it is expensive, but it's logical, because if you think about it, you don't want bitches driving a car, even though they claim if you go over 5 miles per hour, you're banned for life in the park. It actually says that if you do the drive-through.
Whoa.
But you don't want them driving through the park while the guests are walking around the park. You know? So it makes sense. Here's the fucked up thing. The drive-through. So the weekends only is open until January 9th. The drive-through is open pretty much every weeknight, 5 to 10, including this year, the 24th and the 25th. Now,
Oh.
you know they have to be minimally staffed, but some freaking sucker has to
Wow.
work Christmas
What?
Eve for 5
I
hours
mean,
and Christmas Day for 5
Maybe
hours.
What the
there's a
hell are they
Jewish person
thinking?
who's working. They don't care. I mean,
You got to get off the Jewish thing. This is not a
Man,
good view. This is
you
not a good
know-
view
Yeah,
from you,
Scott,
man. It's
it's
not a
not
good
a
view for you, man. All right. You know what? We're gonna skip ahead to something, because Scott's making me really uncomfortable right now. We're gonna skip ahead to something. I just want to point out that, and I think it's PC to call it Jewish Day still, because they call it Muslim Day. So I don't think Jewish Day would be
Right.
and when in our time it was called Jewish
so
Day.
it's okay for him, but it's not okay for me.
I am trying to say that the National Conference of Synagogue Youth have an annual Passover outing, and it's called Passover at Great Adventure. And they turn the park into a kosher for Passover day trip for their folks. And how long has that been going on, Scott? You anti-Semitic motherfucker. How long has that been going on?
I think we gotta get
You
Kenny in
probably
here.
don't know.
I mean,
because
it's
you're
obviously
How
no,
are
no.
you
It's on
friends with
his
Kenny?
calendar. I think he requested off every time it
I
came
think so
up.
too. I think so too.
Where's Kenny?
Well, I'll give you a
Kenny!
guess. I'll let you have a guess. How long do you think they have been having their Passover days, which we used to refer to as Jewish days? So that should be a hint right there on how long it's been
38
that.
years.
So what year would that be? Yeah, this motherfucker
Math
just
is
threw a number
hard.
out, but he
I
doesn't
don't
know the
fucking
year.
know.
This motherfucker.
84.
You're pretty goddamn close. They've been doing this since 1986.
Wow.
1986, they have had their Passover day in a park. I was actually, I was a little blown away by that, but then I thought, well, that's logical, because I don't think there's every year I was there where I don't remember there being Jewish Day. And we
Right,
didn't, I mean, I never realized it was actually called Annual Passover Outing Day. They actually is Passover Great Adventure, but they do have an annual Jewish day. And it's fine, Scott. It's allowed, okay? It's fine.
I love my Jewish brothers and sisters.
Obviously, it's in April. Now we're gonna move on, okay?
I'm just saying. I just went to my first bat mitzvah the other day. It was awesome.
Don't try to save your face now. It's too late. it's way too late, man.
You're gonna have to post the advertisement I was referring to later.
I hesitate to bring up that there was one year where there were breakdowns caused by guests, several breakdowns caused by guests on that day. Because I don't want to foster Loudon's, you know, it just happened to be that the children that day, regardless of race, creed, or anything, were a little rambunctious. And the Movietown Water Effects was the worst. Was definitely the most affected.
So
We
why
had,
the
I think we had 8 people running Movietown Water Effects that day, but Batman was brought down by pushing on the what's it called? The gates. They would push open the gates, causing errors.
Yeah.
And Movietown Water
Oh my God, I
Effects.
forgot about that.
Yeah, Movietown Water Effects was wow. It was so bad. It was anarchy. And the best part is Don was not feeling well that day. So he was working at Batman. I was like, you know what? You're not feeling well. Like, what about Movietown? You want to go to Movietown? It should be lighter. It's, it's cool out. Go to Movietown. It was absolute chaos. I never saw anything like it in the whole time I was there. Billy Billy had to come over, and he tried wrangling it, and he's in front of the bars, and he's staying real professional, and he's like, all right, when the bars open, that boat came in, they threw the bars open, Billy got thrown into the boat. It was just absolute crazy. So what we ended up doing at the time, I was I worked out a lot and whatnot. I was not this fat lard, although this would have helped. This would have actually helped me at the time. So I put my hands on both sides of the queue line and held the group back. Held them, like physically had to hold them from going forward,
Like
and
the
then
whole
let them.
till you're like, "Argh."
Exactly. And at one time, 3 kids walked because they got compressed, kind of like World War Z. They were getting compressed from me getting pulled back, and they walked over my shoulders. And jumped down from my shoulders to go past. And it was just, I remember looking over at Billy, and we looked over at Don and everybody else that was working, and we just shook our heads. We never saw anything like it. And they broke it at least 5 times with us there. I don't even know how many times before we got there. It was anarchy. And then the rabbi got on, and he did an announcement throughout the entire park, and everything was perfect after that. There were no issues. There were no breakdowns. We were able to decrease our staff a little at Movietown Water Effects, but Movietown Water Effects was the ride that day. I think we got down to about 5 people after that. But that rabbi, he got it all wrangled. It was great.
That's so crazy. That's so crazy.
But he had to go on. It was that bad. Several breakdowns throughout the park.
It's funny because, like, I don't remember anything ever bad happening on Jewish Day, like at all. And the other day that's the equivalent to that is the ICNA Day, the Islamic Circle of North America, which has Muslim Family Day at GA. That's a regular event that I did a little research on it. It's because I always remembered Muslim Day started. I mean, let's be honest, Muslim Day was there when we were there. And just like Jewish Day, we would call it Muslim Day. And the only way I remember it is because I remember there would be this day where all of a sudden they were all like, everybody was like in
well, they were in areas too. They would go into areas that they really weren't supposed to be in, just to get some privacy and to, have some space.
When was this? Because I don't remember.
And it just was jarring because you would walk by and you're like, why are there 5 people? They, bowing, in an area that's for employees only.
You guys don't remember a group of people suddenly being in like a weird lawn area, bowing to a certain area where the sun was.
I know you face east and like you pray, but I don't.
I remember that specifically.
No, I really don't.
And
I remember Jewish Day. I don't remember Muslim Day.
Yeah. So, well, it wasn't an official day when we were there. It was just they would unofficially come, as far as I could tell. But as far as the web information shows, it officially started in 2000.
I even remember the Amish. Like, there wasn't like
I remember that too.
Day, but I remember like when the Amish would come through in their groups on the
I remember that too.
And
I don't think they ever had an
They would
official
do bus
day.
trips, I guess.
Well,
Mennonites most likely too. I don't think the Amish would come, but Mennonites,
No, you're right, Chris.
Similar dress. Of course,
when they're young and they're on their Rumsfrau or whatever.
Maybe Rumsfrau. Yeah, exactly. I'd hit Six Flags. And then
they would hit on us as the employees because they were on their Wild Oats
Muslim
Day.
Day was informative though, because I had very little exposure to the religion and everything, and that's where I first saw that. Middle of the day, you go and pray, and
Well, it's funny, the difference in what you guys may not remember at Andy and Scott is because now it's recognized by the park as an official day and they get package deals.
Right.
So they call and it's just like no different than Physics Day. They call and they get a discount on pricing. The more people they bring in, the cheaper the discount is. They get a food pass. They get all this stuff.
I would guess too that it's more organized too, and that they're probably it's known where you can pray now. It was kind of like unprepared, and they would just grab wherever they thought they could grab.
Now it's officially done through the ICNA, the Islamic Circle of North America. But here's the thing: they started it in 2000. Here's where I kind of feel bad about them. Effective, it looks like 2006. They started doing it only as a buyout, so it's a September event for them. And they would and it always was. And they basically, though, started doing it as a buyout, and they would buy out the park on the day. Once we went weekends only, they would buy it out. And the reason they had to do that was for a very obvious reason, because of terroristic threats, and people were like literally threatening them. And then what makes it worse is I found so many websites where they were being boycotted outside the park because they bought the park out, and they were like, how could you, give business to these terrorists and blah, 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 which is completely fucking ridiculous because they're just a race of people, and thankfully our park, which we still think of in a good way, they backed them, and they were like, fuck you, it's a business and they're people, and there's nothing to indicate that these people
just
are terrorists.
Looking to go to a park.
And they actually said, it's funny because it looked like the ICNA's response was like, we don't care if they protest us, just do it outside the park so we can have the safety of being in the park and not dealing with that shit.
Exactly.
But it's sad because it sounds like they had to go from making it an unofficial day where they would all just come to the park and have a fun day at the park, like what Jewish Day was, to now they have to officially buy the park out because they actually are afraid for their lives and they don't want to be walking around the park and have people taking swings at them, So that kind of sucks. But that's the other religious day. I don't know of any other religious days that I could find or recall in my head to use. I mean, obviously we have
Easter.
Our own.
I mean, but it wasn't really Easter, themed or anything. It was just the park was notoriously very busy in Easter and a little crazy at one time on Easter.
But we just called that spring break. We didn't even refer to that as an Easter thing. That was just spring break.
And after the whole crazy shooting thing, they didn't even open the park on Easter Sunday.
Then it was just
years and years. So
that is absolutely true.
And then it came back just for season pass only.
But I do think that Physics Day was somehow tied into Scientology.
Oh yeah,
just because Scientology and physics, it's science and physics.
Well, I will tell you. Okay. It's a good lead-in because we're getting back to the time frame of April and Physics Day.
No more beer for that man.
He did good. He did good. He brought us back to a new topic.
He did bring us back
because he wanted to get off the religious because he knew he was in a shit house.
It was getting pretty bad.
That was good. That was good.
It was a bad look. It was a bad look. It's good to move on.
Yeah. Now he got into a.
I love you, Scott.
You jump from science, from religion to science. I see what's going on here.
Interesting segue.
So, Physics Day. Always in April. I always loved, Andy, your quote on Physics Day. I don't even know if you remember it, but your quote on what Physics Day was always my favorite description of Physics Day. The day kids would drop and throw shit off the rides and we'd have to deal with it. Yeah. That's what I used to say all the time. And that was it. That's Physics Day to us.
Nice.
But it was a big.
Well, I just remember everyone dropping pennies off the free fall all day long.
Pennies off the. Well, now, so here's the crazy thing. I'll upload. I pulled a bunch of different manuals from Physics Day. Physics Day has a teacher's workbook that the park officially builds and has a student's workbook. And the shit they're supposed to actually make and use on the rides is so goddamn cool and complicated that I was like, oh shit, this is not just throwing pennies and like, pencils off the thing with rubber bands. It's like they're actually supposed to create some measurement like tools and shit. And then go and bring them.
You think like, oh, great, we're going to Six Flags today, and then they give you a 50-page packet of work.
Yes, they showed up with a big-ass packet. Absolutely.
If you ever get a chance, when I upload these manuals, I actually took a couple from the other parks too because they were available, and they're some of them are so cool. They have like pictures of Einstein on the front and shit, and I'm like, wow, they did a pretty good job on these manuals, right? But they all have these little fucking bylines that all say, of course, on this ride, this will be very hard to actually make work. Basically, you have to do all of this, but we're telling you it's probably not going to fucking work.
Nice.
It's pretty funny. The Great Adventure ones are interesting because they tell you exactly. Honestly, it seemed like they were all geared for 150. I mean, they were all geared. They were geared for free fall, Movie Town water effects. It was funny, man. They were definitely Batman on the ride. I was like, wow, this is really good.
The rotor, baby. The rotor was on there.
Yes.
That was never 150.
I didn't see the rotor on the ones that I pulled, but the rotor, I remember specifically people always on the rotor doing that stuff. Yeah, big time.
Ironically, 150 was my best memory of Physics Day because I can't remember why, but we were effed. Like we did not have a free fall operator, and I didn't even know he was coming. I see Ron Rhymes with Fish in the distance, dressed in slacks here for Physics Day, and he comes up to say hello, and I'm like, Fish, get on! I need you at free fall. And hero that he was, he got to work in plain clothes.
Operated the free fall.
Oh yeah. He went right to it. He talked with his people and saved me. He was a hero that day.
That's awesome. That's so awesome,
great.
Man.
It's great.
To throw out Scott's Scientology shit, they describe Physics Day as students will explore math, science, and physics by observing and riding the mechanics of roller coasters, thrill rides, and more. Basically a field trip for GA. Obviously a really big event every year. And it's crazy because if you go online, like Six Flags makes money off of this. Like they sell this as a massive package deal, and every park is clearly invested in this now. And it's definitely a big deal. I don't remember. I guess it maybe was that big when we were there, but I never consider it to be such a big thing. Even I always just remember it's like, I always just thought of it like, oh, it's school field trip day. I never really thought about how much money the park was generating.
It's
but
good to know
clearly
somebody
they
still
were.
believes in science.
My school never went.
No, none of mine either. But it clearly definitely and it's funny. It spawned a secondary one now. If you look on their upcoming events for next year in May, they now offer schools to book academic adventures where physics, biology, business, and marketing
Biology
all meets together at the park for a fun day for your students.
I mean, I remember I learned a fair amount of biology.
Biology and marketing are two that kind of threw me off a little. I'm like, that's kind of crazy, but it's not physics, it's academics.
The biology I learned was extracurricular.
Scott got his degree in biology.
However,
I have some jokes that I'm just gonna drink my beer. I'm gonna drink my beer. I'll back up my jokes right now. I don't want to get in the shit house he's in right now.
I got my master's.
I will say that I went to school in Jackson High School, so we did go to physics day every year, and I was in physics senior year.
Right.
And I remember my teacher asking us, I was like, yeah, I'm definitely not going to that because I like work at the park. I was like, I'm gonna get a hard pass on that.
I wonder if maybe that's the same thing I did. I don't remember, but that might have been a possibility. Allentown might have offered it too, and I was just like, I'm already fucking there. I'm working it. Fuck you. I'll see you there. You know, like I'm getting paid to do that shit. I'm not going there and doing some work.
The best was, you remember that dude? And another weird dude who worked Rotor, and it wasn't Chris. But he worked Rotor for like years.
I do. I know exactly what you're talking about.
And I remember him and Shaggy talking, and he's like, I have physics day, but I think I'm just going to cut and come to work. And Shaggy's like, listen, I can't like say okay to that because you're like a high school student. But if you just show up here and you want to work, I'll
let you work. Yeah. I remember the dude.
He's like,
I remember the dude. Yeah.
And it went back and forth for like 15 minutes. I was watching it the whole time. I'm like, I need to just watch
CYOA, man. CYOA. Don't tell no high school kid. No. You got to work that day. You get in trouble. Fuck that shit. You know? It's kind of cool though. I mean, I would say if you're at all interested in it, when I upload after this podcast, sometime in the next week, I'll upload all the workbooks to this. You know, I always create a folder on our Facebook podcast page where I have stuff dedicated to whatever we're talking about on each episode. And I'll create one for this one for the holidays. I have one specific to holidays in the park, and then I might add it into there, but I might actually just make it specific to this podcast episode because that way it makes more sense that it mixes all the other holidays and not just holidays in the park like me and Scott went through, you know, like the Christmas thing. But I'll upload all the other manuals too. Like there's, you know, a Great America manual and all that. It is kind of cool seeing the stuff they did for their rides. They all did unique stuff, and the manuals are fucking impressive as shit. Like somebody really like worked on those damn things, and they're really impressive. Although I'm not joking, it is the funniest thing in the world to read all this impressive stuff you're supposed to do, and then at the end that little byline going, "Shit ain't gonna probably work. Just do it anyway." Like that's what the byline basically tells you. You know? Like if the kids have any brains, they'll get to the bottom and be like, "Fuck it, I'm bringing a pencil and a rubber band. Fuck all that work," you know. So, but pretty humorous, man. But yeah, I don't know. Anything else about Physics Day, man? I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. A whole shitload of kids would come to the park and be honest,
pretend to be working.
Yeah, we'd be working. They were pretty polite. I don't remember anything bad about it. I actually enjoyed Physics Day. I always thought it was like one of the easiest days in the park.
They were the nerdy kids.
They were the nerdy kids. They were nice. Yeah, they were all just hanging in
they were
packs.
Dropping and throwing shit off the rides all day.
They're basically the ones that we're all working for today.
Pretty true.
Is what I'm trying to say.
Pretty true. Yeah, that's pretty true. Yeah.
So,
God.
I had it and then I lost it.
All right, sip. And so June, there is a grad night. I'm pretty sure they had it because I kind of remember kids coming dressed up, but I never really thought of what the fuck it was for. But basically, it's for graduating high school seniors, and they have a grad night in June that they could come in. Yeah, schools. And
I don't remember that specifically. I remember a lot of kids coming like during prom season and stuff like that.
The weird thing is the park takes advantage of offering discounts for things that they're making official now. So that's actually on their official thing, grad night, which I don't remember that ever being like an official thing back in our day. But they do have a grad night for high school seniors, which is, kind of cool. I mean, fucking anytime they're offering discounts to local kids, it's great.
I mean, it's like the Coke can thing, but
Yeah.
Although
that's a great segue into the next one, which is July 4th. So July 4th is funny because it's a kind of a big one for a couple different reasons. First of all, anyone know what day the park actually opened? The first day Six Flags Great Adventure opened to the public.
You mean like forever and ever?
Forever. The first day they ever opened.
I imagine from what you're saying,
July
it's
4th,
1 year.
1973.
March 13th.
Oh no. Pluso, drink, motherfucker. All right. Andy is
drinking
so
water.
fucking close. July 4th, 1974.
Vodka.
Bullshit, that's water.
July 4th, 1974, man. Yeah. So the park
74.
opened on July 4th. Now, all right, I got one for Pluso since he fucked that one up and shit the bed totally. Let's see if we can get this one right. In 1995, for July 4th weekend, and then a limited time afterwards, they did a special ride event.
Oh, I know this one.
What was it,
Oh.
Pluso?
Oh, I know.
Oh, it's Batman the Ride.
And what did they do?
Oh, I think we were open to like 3 a.m, but I can't
No.
remember.
No. Hey, shit the
Oh.
bed again. Come on,
March
man.
13th.
All right. All right, I'll give you a hint. They also did a similar event for me and Andy's one of our favorite rides, Rolling Thunder.
Oh, I can't. I mean, the only events I could even remember was the original press night, and also we would do an employee event too, where employees were.
All right, you don't know.
But
Scott's
I
about to
can't
hump my
remember
leg.
backwards.
If I don't, bingo! If I didn't pass it off, Scott was going to hump my
What?
leg. Yes, 1995 for July 4th event, and it only ran for limited time. Batman the Ride went fucking backwards.
Where the hell was I?
I know! I know!
I don't even remember that.
I don't either, and I was
I was probably operating.
I was a ride soup in 160, and I don't remember it.
It's all a cloud.
He does. He remembers it.
And I don't remember anything. I remember that.
I don't remember it.
That
Yeah.
was like my first year as supervisor. And
Wow,
I was
yeah, I
"Ooh,
don't
backward."
remember.
I was like, I should gotta check that shit out.
I wish I had
Yeah.
gone. I never got on that, and I didn't go on Rolling Thunder backwards, and it bums me the fuck out to read that because I'm like, that had to be a really cool experience. That'd be really fucking cool, man.
Wow.
You
That's
know?
cool.
Yeah. Damn, Pluso, you
I
fucking.
don't know where the hell I was. I wasn't very observant that weekend.
All right. Where's Neil? He's Batman now. You're Robin.
Yeah,
I
you're
know.
Robin.
I know. I
You
think I'm
delegated
demoted.
it.
I am
That's it.
demoted. I am Robin.
Yep. You're not even fucking like cool Damien or like Dick Grayson Robin. You're like Jason Todd who Joker kills Robin. You're the shitty Robin. Okay. Another date for the park that's important for July 4th. Park got shut down like everybody else in the entire world for COVID, and they actually reopened July 4th, 2020. So they're reopening when they finally got approval and everything was for
Did
July
the Beach
4th.
Boys play?
No, they did not that year. Ironically,
They
nobody
were there
plays because the
every year
arena's
on
been
July
closed.
4th.
Yeah, that used to be a big thing. So yeah, so what do you guys? I mean, I have some notes on July 4th, but what are your memories about July 4th? July 4th to me, honestly, was big for two things. One, because my cousin for a short period of time did the fireworks when it was on the grandstand. So, when it was on the lake, where the ski show used to be. So that was kind of cool. My cousin actually did the fireworks. That was neat. And then when I was a 160 soup, one of my favorite things to do was we would close, most of the towers down early. And then the fireworks would go on at like 10, but we'd close the towers down at 9. So I would take those extra people, have them sweep for a half hour. And then I'd be like, you. Like anyone that did a good job that night, I'd be like, come with me. And they didn't know what the fuck was going on. I'd bring them on the back path behind Buccaneer. And there was a little dock there where they would launch to go to the fireworks. We would sit on that.
I know what you were
dock.
doing. Steve.
Shut up. We would sit on that. It was multiple people, Andy. It's not the human centipede you're thinking. Okay. All right? Multiple people. All right.
It's that
We were
biology.
And we would just watch the fireworks. And it was always like a bonus, like, did a good job today. Let's fucking just watch the fireworks, And it was cool because typically those fuckers would get sent to fucking start sweeping everything. They'd have to sweep the Rapids queue or every other queue. Instead, they got to watch fireworks for the night. So it was kind of nice, That's
no wonder
all
I was
my-
there.
Remember,
No wonder I
if
was
you
there till
could-
3 a.m.
If you were lucky enough to get a day shift, it was cool on 4th of July because then you'd be able to go and do whatever. But
Yeah.
if you were stuck night shift, it sucked. I mean, you'd be there till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning.
That's
cleaning
true.
that place up.
That was
gonna
an
say-
A lot, B lot, C lot, all the lots.
I was gonna
that
say
a
I
long
don't
night,
have
yeah.
fond memories. I got shitload of complaints. That's what I remember, and probably a 16 to 18 hour day, and then having to get up for another one if it were a weekend, because the weekend was really what the worst time was. If 4th
Yeah.
of July fell on a Tuesday, or the whole weekend was bad. It wasn't just 4th of July, and whatever weekend it was connected to was the really bad part.
That's true.
So yeah, not a lot of fond memories of that, and of course, balls hot. So it just wasn't
Well,
wasn't a good scenario. And Batman probably had a 3-hour line, and
my whole memory of 4th of July is tainted by my first year as supervisor because it was like the hottest, driest, sunniest summer of ever in New Jersey, and I worked 160, so it was like freaking the whole summer was like ridiculously like a madhouse.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, originally, Andy, where did we start fireworks? Where were the first fireworks at? I know you know this one. This is a softball.
So this wasn't where they were when I started working there, but I remember as a kid coming as a guest, and they would be in the lake in front of the Western Cables.
Yep.
So they would
Lahawa
shut
Creek.
down cables every night for fireworks.
Yeah, and Mine Train and Cables got shut down.
Yeah.
It was Lahawa Creek, which is funny because the whole time we were in Western, this is where I go, wow, even I can learn shit. I don't think I ever even knew it had a fucking name for that creek, but it is Lahawa, Lahaway Creek. And 1978 to they started fireworks in 78. That's where they started them. It was always in that lake, and it ran until 82. And then in 83, they stopped doing them there, and they moved them over to the Great Lake Grandstand, which is because they created the whole ski show over there. They put that stadium up, so that became their fireworks lake, and that's still where their main fireworks lake is now. And every time we go to the park, I always take pictures, and you can see the barges are still out there because they still do them. Now, though, correct me if I'm wrong, but our last 5 years that we all worked there, so we all pretty much finished in 97, 98. There were fireworks every night. And 4th of July was
in the
not
summer,
yeah, and it wasn't anything special anymore. Like they thought they were getting a special thing,
Well,
but they kind of weren't.
Yeah.
I do remember towards the end they would do a little longer show, and they had, I don't know if you guys remember, some crazy like water curtain thing going on where they would
remember that.
spray water up in the
Yeah.
sky and project
I do remember
something
that.
onto it.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe 5 minutes longer. I thought for 4th of July, but nothing that noticeable to
Right.
us. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then they came up with that very formulaic finale. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, I did.
But it was very compact, and it was it was a lot, but it was a really tiny fireworks, but like a whole bunch of them. And it was the same exact finale every time, probably like a box that does the same thing every time.
Yep.
I preferred
I mean, the regular fireworks show was pretty good.
Yeah, not bad at all. No, it was pretty good.
I will say, by
That
the
was my
way,
favorite thing, was to ride the cables during the fireworks.
so
Oh,
two
yeah,
things. As a
Big Wheel was
supervisor,
cool, too.
as Big Wheel was cool. So it's funny. My short period as a 140 soup, I would actually do the Big Wheel for the fireworks. You're absolutely right. When I was a 120 soup, I would always, and sometimes with you, Andy, we would do a cable ride during the fireworks. Always have to do the cable check, But one of my favorite time for fireworks of all time comes to two things: taking 160 employees to watch them from that little dock, because no regular rides employees knew that dock was there. I only knew it was there because that's where my cousin launched his fucking
I
boat.
don't even know that dock was there.
It was, well, because that's where my cousin launched his boat, so I knew. So it was behind the Buccaneer. It was a little thing right next to where the Dolphin Show used to be, and so that was fun.
Work and shoot.
Bingo, Andy knew where I was going. Or even Lift One. Lift One was a fucking beautiful spot too. Working log flume as a fucking black tag or a red tag, and the best was, if I was watching the fireworks from a log flume, I was day lead. So that meant Brian was in charge, and my ass was just sitting up there watching, doing nothing. Just OT money, watching the fireworks, happy as fuck, man.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah,
It's
there were a
me-
lot of cool places from the Laughlin and on that Laughlin Peninsula
Oh,
there
yeah.
you could watch the fireworks from.
It was pretty awesome. It was a good time.
You could hang out up there with a baboon next to you and just
Nah. Baboons were only at opening. Baboons never came out at night. They were only at opening. And they would be there already. You would just see them sitting in the chair and be like, fuck you, I'm out. I'm not getting chased, motherfucker.
Sitting in the chair.
They were. That's where they were. I shit you not. Chris, I'm not even lying.
I know.
Three times as a fucking lead on Log Flume, I had baboons
So
sitting in
good.
chairs. I don't
So
know what the
good.
fuck. It's like they made all that escape attempt to get over those fucking walls and barriers to go sit in a chair on the Log Flume. What the
They
fuck
just
is
wanted
fuck?
an easy job.
Yeah. That's right. To be honest with you, I would have gave my red tag if they would have worked it. Yeah.
Exactly.
Now it seems like I don't think they do fireworks every day anymore, because from what I could tell, and mind you, I just started going back to the park for the first time this year in many years, and we don't stay all the way to closing. But they do have fireworks for Holiday in a Park, 9 p.m. every night. They call them New Year's Eve fireworks, and they do run them, and they're actually launched around Main Street area. So that's where they tell you to go. So that's kind of a little bit different. But it looks like as far as regular fireworks, they still have them over the lake, and they basically do them on July 4th weekend. So it's usually 7-2 to 7-4. And it's weird because it almost looks like there might be an upcharge for that, which I don't know how the fuck that would work, but they kind of advertise it, which is a little weird. But what cracked me up is sponsored by Coca-Cola, fully sponsored by Coca-Cola. And it looks like that's been going on for a while. So that kind of made me laugh too. I was like, look at these motherfuckers, you know? But yeah, fireworks though, good times, man. That's one of those holidays where I'm like, I have nothing. I mean, I know we say people get angry and shit, and I know the park was packed. And it was. I do remember the park always being packed. Really, especially at that point, that's the worst time in the summer to be at 160 Soup because you can't move.
Yeah.
Like everybody's in the water section, so you really can't move. However, I don't remember a lot of fights or shit I had to deal with. I actually remember just fireworks were fine. Never a big deal to me. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I remember. What was it? Somebody was complaining they got stuck on like the hydro flume.
Yeah.
And they missed the fireworks show.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Just tell them you could have fucking seen it from where you were, asshole. Shut up. You know?
Validate your Twicket.
And the best was
Say that shit again. Oh,
We'll validate your Twicket.
That's the answer to everything. You're angry? I'll give you 5 free Twickets. Oh, I'm good.
it gets better because that's exactly what I did. I was like, here's a free Twicket. Come back tomorrow.
Absolutely,
Yes.
man.
But this was the time of year where they stopped doing the fireworks during the week, and it was only on the weekends. So I was like,
They
"Come back
came
tomorrow
looking
and see
for
the
you."
show." There was no fireworks the next day.
You're such a douche. Although I will say, me and Andy had one of the best jumps ever, because in rides, your only power was being able to ask the people at front gate to validate Twickets and maybe give them free Twickets and to shut them up. But when we went to games, you threw a fucking big ass Tweety on top of that, and they were like ready to blow you. Like they were just like, "Oh, you're the best person in the world! Thank
They
you."
cost us nothing, those things.
And literally,
Sleepy
you
Tweety.
threw that fucking Tweety in, and they were like, "Thank you so much!" And it's like, Jesus Christ.
You would have thought what that Tweety was. Tweety
Oh,
in
my
Tweety in pajamas.
I remember though, you know what's really funny when we're talking about these things? I don't know if I said this when we were talking about breakdowns earlier when we first were doing this, but I remember a breakdown on the big wheel, and this guy was so fucking pissed off, and he refused to take validated Twickets. He wanted season passes, and it was the only time I ever fucking had to call 200 in, which was Billy at the time, and be like, this motherfucker wants one season's pass for every one of his fucking family because he got stuck up there for fucking 15 minutes. And Billy's like, oh, no fucking way. He's like, no way. And I didn't hear any more. I don't know if what he got. Billy took them away. They went to front gate, but it was really funny. I only had one instance where the Twickets would not work. And this guy's like, seasons passes, or I go to the press. I go to the press.
Go to the press.
I literally was like, sir, I mean, what are you going to say? That you were on the ride 15 minutes longer than you were supposed to be? It's the big wheel. You were in no danger in any way whatsoever. And he's like, I don't care. I want seasons passes. Like, I'm going to get my manager and let him deal with you.
And the funny thing is they would have been more apt to give those. It was money back. Cash going back to them was the last absolute resort. Like, I mean, they really needed to be screwed in order to give them cash back. That was
funny.
big.
I remember and some of the customers, they knew how to work the game.
Oh,
or whatever.
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
One time there was a power outage And like, I remember there were this one family that came and they had two autistic kids.
Oh no.
And they would always come and ride the Riptide, Hydroflume, whatever.
I sort of remember this.
And they left the station and there was a power failure. I was like, oh, please, God, let them have come down before the power failure.
Yeah.
Sure enough, like 30 seconds later, the chute operator called, like, we got a big problem, you know, because those two kids were up there.
Yeah.
And they were trying to climb out of the boat, trying to climb over the railings because they were like,
I remember this. I actually remember this. I remember you telling me about this at least.
And the best part was it was in the middle of a thunderstorm. There was lightning going on everywhere and it was just insane. Like, it was just insanity. So I actually didn't go to Congo Rapids, even though it flushed. Like, so that was a big mess, but this was more urgent. So I went up to the chute of Hydroflume and these kids were like so hard to deal with. And I got them out of the boat on their own, took them down off there on their own.
Right.
And then I went back for the rest of the people. And like this one dad was like, oh, he's like, I was up there for a half hour. Blah, blah. I was like, well, obviously you saw what I was dealing with, right? He's like, yeah, but I don't care. He's like, I want season passes. Blah, blah. And I was like, you know what? I was like, go to guest relations because I'm not going to talk to you. And then guest relations called me later. Like, yeah, he's here. I was like, you know what? I was like, that's bullshit. I was like, don't give him anything because he saw what was going on.
No Twicket for you.
Twicket wasn't going to satisfy him. So yeah, it was. I mean, that was like one of the few times that I was like, no. I mean, usually with customers, I was like, yeah, give them, you know, whatever, make them happy, but not that time.
Let me tell you, Peluso, if I was still there as a supervisor right now, I would be the supervisor Nazi right now. No Twicket for you. No season pass for you. Come back. 5 year. 5 year. I would totally be the soup Nazi. I'm telling you right now, dude.
Nice.
All right. So jumping ahead, we have hit April, June, July. We hit September. We are into October. So we already talked about.
We forgot about like the end of August, which was like, it wasn't a holiday, but it was like the worst time of the year when all the college kids went back to school.
Okay.
We were short staffed, like up the yin yang, and it was like just a mess.
Well, I mean, yeah, we were fucked, and the marketing would have to come out and like work the rides, and we'd have to do spot training for 20,000 attendant positions all day. But in reality, I don't feel like the park was ever packed enough to make it such a big deal. Like, I feel like it wasn't all that bad. Like, it sucked, but you know, it didn't matter. You opened half the rides at noon. You know, maybe one, maybe two.
Right.
And it was like, it's fine. You just work on major. That's where it was like, if you were a good supervisor, you already knew the strategy, you know? I mean, honestly, you were only fucked if you were in 120 because you had no flat rides. Everything had to open. So you kind of had to hope for the mercy of everybody giving you enough people to open it up and that you had an operator.
Pray for rain.
Yeah, and pray for rain. Jesus Christ, you can shut shit down. But if you were like in 160, it's like, okay, I open the Rapids, I open the Riptide. Maybe I could probably open the Riptide at noon. I open up the Asian, and everything else go fuck itself. And then, you know, I'll get
there was
noon or one, and I'm good.
Like Scott was saying, there was that push though, where we don't want to have rides down. It's a bad look.
Well,
Yeah,
remember what they did though.
So-
So the smart thing was, if you had a good 200's job was to monitor how to start from the front of the park and make sure that the first rides they hit were open, which means 140 got fucked because you can never have the big wheel down. There were certain rides that had to be open, but you got away with other rides. So Buccaneer, maybe noon. Big wheel always had to be by 10 a.m. So there was a
but to
game
put
you
it in
played.
There might have been a
perspective,
duality there where, like, you know, me as a 160 supervisor, if I didn't have the African Tower open at 11 a.m., I was getting shit on from everybody. Like, what the fuck do you mean you don't have at least one slide open at the African Tower? I'm just saying.
I mean, Andy, I didn't go through that. Did you go through that?
I mean, it was what it was.
Neil was for it.
Maybe you should have been a little nicer to the full timers, and they wouldn't have rode your ass so much. I don't know what to tell you. You know,
that goes back to the whole. If I was a good supervisor, which clearly I was not. But
Well,
I'm just saying, you know.
And I'm not even saying it's wrong. Billy had the initiative, especially one particular season where the thought was to get every ride open at least for a few hours a day.
Okay, I'll take a step
Neil.
back.
Neil had the best.
Billy was different. Billy was like, everything has to open.
Yes,
Billy was a little
everything must
different.
open. And Neil was forced to open one that might feel a little superfluous, you know. And over the air he goes, balloon rides 10-8. And Billy was like,
Oh my
10-4, real happy
Holy
10-4.
shit. Dude, I haven't even thought about the baby big wheel in years.
Yes.
Holy
Balloon rides
fuck.
10-8. He was so pissed off. And Billy can tell he's like 10-4.
Oh my god. I actually remember Billy riding my ass one time. I was covering 150 to open that fucker up. I fucking forgot about that shit.
Yes,
Holy
man.
fucking
Because everything else in
hysterical.
150 was open, so it looked bad. I agree. It did look bad. Just have this shitty carnival ride just sitting there dormant, So, yeah, it was always
Oh my
try to
God,
get
that's
balloon ride
hysterical.
open. Try to get it open.
That's pretty
Yeah.
goddamn funny. I didn't even think about that one. That's pretty funny. I mean, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. That's where I kind of felt like I enjoyed being a supervisor because I knew what the fuck I was doing. And, you just
Yeah.
go with the flow and hope that you don't have a full-timer that's going to ride your ass. And if they do,
Only do what you
then-
can do. Get
Yeah,
me the
and that-
people. You
that-
get me the
Andy said
people.
Well,
it
that's the
open
thing.
rides.
It is what it
Yeah.
is.
that's exactly it.
I
It
need
is what it
24
is.
people to open
Yeah.
the section.
You want to bring another
That's
ride
all
in? Bring
you
another
need.
ride in, and I'll
Yeah.
open that too.
Yeah.
Just get me the
I
people.
remember-
That's it.
I remember like that, and like certain full timers riding my ass, and they're like, "Oh, open up the African Tower." I was like, "Yeah." I'm on the over the radio. We're having a conversation. I was like, "I could do that," and then not give any of my people breaks the whole.
Well,
day.
now I'm already seeing why you weren't liked very much. Maybe you shouldn't have done that on the radio. Maybe you should have said, "Could you call me at the African Tower and I have this conversation privately?" Maybe not call out their operational, ways of doing things on the radio. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm just saying
You know?
it was a completely stupid question. Like, can you open the African Tower? Yeah. Oh yeah, sure. I can do that, and I can fucking shit golden eggs too if you want. It's just a question of how bad you want it and what you're willing to give up for it.
I'm gonna move on and say for the people in the audio, I'm sorry you can't see what I'm doing for Scotty, but anyway,
It's all good. I'm not like crying about it. I'm just saying that treatment may have been different depending on who the sectional supervisor was at the
my
time.
favorite thing right now is Andy's face. Andy's like, "Shut the fuck up, Scott."
So this is going back to the whole.
You wanted the job, do the job.
You wanted the
Scott.
job, do the job. Get in the back of the fucking truck, Scott. All right? Get in the back of the
You
truck.
want the job.
Just saying, it's clearly there's,
Oh,
All
God.
right, moving on. So, I mean, we did Fright Fest, but we talked a lot about Fright Fest with Neilio. Most of it, I think. We were talking about how, it's funny. We were talking a little earlier today. We were kind of laughing. I was like, I don't think there's a lot more for us to talk about with Fright Fest. I think we kind of talked to death a little bit on the last one, but we didn't actually talk about us going to Fright Fest. I will say, we went on a fucking rainy, cold ass day, and yet
it did stop raining after an hour or two.
it
so
did.
that was-
It did. But even that did not stop us from having a fucking fantastic time. We had a really fucking good time at Fright Fest this year. We had, and we're still living in COVID time, so it's still a little
Yeah.
weird. Like me and him we're not the anti-vaxxer, anti-maskers. We're the opposite. We believe in it all. We believe in science. So we're very much mask people and everything. So for us, it's a little weird when you're suddenly in a park where everybody's right up your ass. That was the first time I went to the park where I really had to worry about a larger amount of people. And I was hoping the rain would keep them away. And it sort of did, but not really. The queue lines were still pretty packed, but I will say we had a fun time all the way around. The haunted houses they have were they were exactly the same as when we were there. Some were great, some were shit. The surprising thing is the Right Stuff has two of them. One of them, and people in front of us actually told us who were experienced and have clearly gone through them a few times. They're like, one's going to suck, but that one's going to be great. And they were completely right. One was like a fluff haunted house where it's like, it didn't matter. And the other one was fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
One was really fucking good in the Right Stuff. There is one in Western that was called the Bloodshed, and everything about it sounded badass. And I was like,
Should have been called the bitch shit.
oh my God. It was, we were like, I held it to the last one. So I was like, the Bloodshed, we're going on that last. We went through and it was, I shit you not. It was one girl in bad ghost makeup, like, boo, and just kept following us. And we're like, stop it. Just stop it. That kind of sucked. There was another one that was really cool.
Was it the
they-
science one?
well, the one that was supposed to have the Velociraptor and shit, but yeah, I guess it was. There was the one at Log Flume.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was one at Log Flume that they actually put. So you know the back gate where you go underneath, you go to Shooting Spillway.
Yeah.
Right.
That's where it is. They put it under Shooting Spillway, and there was so much room there that it was fucking amazing, and it was really good. The only downside.
So what happens if the ride breaks down, though? I guess it's not open
wasn't
anymore
running,
at that
was
point.
it?
Was it not running?
Actually, I don't think it was running because of the cold and because
It's
it was
cold.
night.
Yeah.
I don't think it was
Yeah.
running. Actually, I don't think it's running at all during the time they have it. To be honest with you, I think they keep it down because it's already so. It was pretty fucking biting
Right.
cold
So
even
right.
then.
The first pool was like he's like coming up to me. I was like, "You're making me uncomfortable." And he's like, he's just looking at me, and then I said something to him, and he got pissed off. And he's like, "Oh, nice tan line," because like I had a T-shirt on that was like a little big, and it showed that I like have no tan underneath the neckline. I was like, "That's what happens when you get a fucking full-time job, motherfucker." Like, someday you'll know.
When
what
you're
it's
not
like
playing a
working
ghoul
office.
part time.
That's like fighting with the 16-year-old volunteer. That's
exactly.
fucking-
Exactly. Yeah.
He was at least 17.
It was actually that was actually a really cool one. The only thing that was a downer in that one is there were a couple things they had where they didn't have any lights on it properly, so it was so dark you couldn't see what they set up, but yet you could see like if it was lighter. Like there was one where they had a fucking dinosaur there, and it was supposed to be part of the fucking thing, like that story of the haunted attraction, and I could kind of see it. And it was badass, but because they had no lights on, I'm like, wow, that's just a waste, you know?
Yeah.
Overall, though, I have to say, Fright Fest was super fucking fun. We had a really good time. I don't think I have anything else to add to it. I
But
mean,
yeah, beers were drank. It was a good
beers were
time.
drank. You know, we weren't afraid of anything, but the park looked fantastic. I mean, the one thing the park definitely is smart about is that they constantly, every year, add, they did it when we were there too. It's clear that they're still putting a little bit of a budget out for Fright Fest every year so they can go and buy more stuff. And then they store everything in the elephant barn. And then every year they have more and more and more. So Fright Fest looks fantastic. And they have some really big stuff. Like, I mean, massive stuff. Like, if you go through the photos we put up, I try to take photos of the biggest stuff. They have some things that are like clearly like, you know, $10,000 to $20,000 items that they bought to, you know, just display. They're just like demonic displays and shit like that, but they're badass. They're huge and they're really cool.
Yeah, so there was like a lot. I mean, I remember going there when my daughter was young, probably like 15 years ago, and they'd have those stands that they set up with the propane fired like lantern things. And the lanterns were still there. But that sad dude who was sweeping off the stage as we were walking by. So there was this dude who was like our age, and he looked like he was dressed like a ghoul, and he was in Game Square, and he was there by himself.
There's a show
sweeping off the
stage,
stage,
and he was cleaning
like,
off the show stage. It was right in the mid. It was literally right next to where a milk bottle used to be.
It was so depressing. It had me questioning my own life choices. Like, you know, did I really make a good choice when getting here? Like, it was bad, man.
It's a different kind of horror.
It did look like the guy that had decided he was going to be a lifer in grounds. And it wasn't until 15 years in, he's like, why did I choose grounds?
What was I thinking?
He was totally dressed. He was like the actor in that stand, but they made him sweep his own stage.
Yeah.
It was really messed up. It was like, wow.
It was pretty funny. That was true. That was pretty funny. Good time though. I will say good time. You want to see what it looks like? You know, we have our whole walkthrough up, and the park looks great. I have to say the park looks fantastic. So we'll jump from Fright Fest into Holidays in the Park. So Holidays in the Park takes place in November. As we said when we opened, there's two separate ones. There's the drive-through, which I'm actually going to do on Thursday. And
they haven't figured out how to extract any money from Thanksgiving. Back to Christmas.
They should have like a turkey race. Like you let a turkey go in the park, and the first person who catches it gets season passes. That's how I think it would go down.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they don't make that extra Thanksgiving money yet, but you know, I will say though, in Holiday in the Park, when we did the food service walkthrough that we threw up, I added in anything special I saw from Fright Fest, and anything special I saw from Holiday in the Park. Holiday in the Park, they do special food stuff. They do a feast. Okay. They do like a holiday feast. And
And the sad.
Yeah. All right. So we might as well just say this one right now. Okay. So the park is broken up into different sections, and they definitely try to go the Disney route where each section has their own special characters. Okay. So
Yeah, I noticed that in the commercial in the beginning.
and but they
A
actually
lot of
do it.
weird
So like
knockoff
yeah,
princesses.
they're so absolutely. So the Jersey Devil ride gets its own Chris Sizzle, which is like the demonic character. Okay. And then they have a bunch of other winter characters. So, and they're queens and princesses. So they're totally infringing on Disney shit right there,
I
right?
did see one princess. Right?
Yeah, we'll get to it. So there's an evergreen queen, there's a peppermint princess, a poinsettia princess, and there's
so
a few
generic.
Okay, and they are, but they each have their own outfit and dress, and they're all assigned to one special section of the park, and the park's broken down to each section. Okay, like
Right.
and they're all their own holiday sections. Okay. We saw one princess the whole fucking time, and it was right next to the big wheel, and it was her ass as she was running out of the park into an employee-only area. We never saw another princess in another section, and we were there for about 5 hours. So I was like, I don't know if we just ill-timed it. I don't know what the deal was, but we were like, damn, man, where are all these princesses at, you know? And when we went to Santa, Santa's in his own little area in the Fest House, okay? And that's called the so basically 150 is a holiday memory section, and then they have the Merry Marketplace, and that is the actual Fest House section.
Yeah, which is like the Oktoberfest area.
It's the total
Yeah,
Oktoberfest area. And I will say it's the funniest thing ever is that so they have for Fright Fest, it's a giant pumpkin in that area that you walk through. In Holiday in a Park, it's a giant snowman. It's a giant like Frosty the Snowman. I mean, fucking giant.
And you basically walk through his genitalia.
You walk through his front side, but it does not look. It does, look, this is the thing. When you walk through from the front, you don't feel like you're walking through his genitalia area. You're like, this is really a cute Frosty the Snowman. The opening pathway is through
Speak
it.
for yourself.
However, I will agree
Worn
with
your
you.
way out.
When you're exiting, you clearly look like you're just walking through an asshole of a snowman. That's all it looks like. It's just one big hole. So if you look at the photos I put up there, I was laughing so hard because it's like it looks so family friendly on the way in, and so like you couldn't have done something else here and did something. And I just look like I'm going through a snowman's asshole right now. You know?
When we were walking in there, we went down and we're like looking for like the special like holiday meals thing, and there was like the Fest House where like you get a feast. And we walk into this, the doors to the Fest House, and I walk in and I'm like, Steve, I'm scared. It's
Yeah.
dark, and it looks like you can get like anally assaulted anytime while you're in there.
It's pretty bad. We took a picture of it and we have it up on our thing. It's like so it's when you're first walking in that area, okay? It's kind of cool. The Picnic Grove actually has its own campfire s'mores fire pits. You can rent them. They're at first we were like, it's ridiculously expensive because it's like $50 for 45 minutes. But then when we really looked at what you get 4 chairs to sit at the fire pit. Okay. The fire pit's fully lit. You get 4 s'mores kits, 4 drink kits. So for a family of 4, you're paying $50, but you get all of that. And in 45 minutes, it's just nobody fuck with you while you have your own little fire pit and you make s'mores and you do a little family event with hot cocoa and shit.
Which is the best because like during like Holiday in the Park, there's a bunch of fire pits set up throughout the park.
Yeah.
And like you could buy like 15 minutes of warmth by like investing like what $5 or $10 in like a s'mores kit and sit by the fire for like 5 minutes.
So,
it was,
but it's not a bad deal if you had a family and you're trying to do like a family friendly event. You have kids and you're trying to make s'mores with your kids and do something. It's like cold and nasty out. It's kind of a smart thing. So that was kind of cool. You go up farther and then you get to where there's basically it's the exact same fucking big ass tent Fest House that we used to go in for all of our employee dining area. Like whenever they were doing employee catering and we were having an event, you'd go in there. Do you remember how fucking dark and miserable it was when you go in there? And I hated going in there because it would be hamburgers and hot dogs, all those fucking picnic tables, cold as fuck because there's no heating, and it was dark. They never lit the fucker up, right? Well, now from the outside, they have these blow-up toy soldiers, and it says Holiday Feast, and it looks amazing. And we have the picture of it up. And then you walk in, and I shit you not, it's darker than we worked there. It is the creepiest looking thing. You walk in, and I looked at him, and I was like, I don't even need to take a picture. I'm just walking the fuck out of here. This place is creepy as fuck. We're out. We turned around, we walked right out. It was not cool, man. It was like, if I had a family, I would never eat there. And I'm not trying to shit on the park, but I'm just saying, put some fucking lights in there. Jesus Christ, it was scary as fuck, man. Not cool, dude. However, they probably do well because they have like wine events in there, and they have like wine where I guess the wives can wine it up. So they probably do well at the end of the day. But
I used to do catering, man. Yeah,
you know the deal.
Yeah.
Not family friendly though, dude. I would not have recommended that spot in any fucking way. I'm telling you, it was spooky.
It was pretty dark.
It was pretty bad. And then what's funny, the first time we went in there, Santa sign was up and it said he's feeding the reindeer on a 15-minute break. And we turn and we look, and there's they're a little Santa house, right? We turn and we look, and there's one dude elf and 4 like 18-year-old hot ass female elves, and we're like, well, there's a little bit of a miss thing here, you know? We're like, so I was joking with them. I'm like, I'm getting so many pictures of you with the elves. I don't give a fuck about Santa. I'm getting you in trouble with Kathleen, you know, and his wife, you know? I was like, them elves are gonna be all over you. But Santa never fucking came back. And we turn around, and as we're exiting, we see why. He's walking out of the bathroom. We're like, Santa was taking a joke. Santa was dropping a Yule log for sure, man. So we missed out on Santa. But I'm like, if you're, I think there was a deal where it was like, if you're a season pass holder and you're only getting one picture, it was like $10. So I was like, me and him are getting a fucking Santa picture together. God damn it. So we went early enough that we saw everything light. And then we stayed until after it got dark because we want to see everything lit up, which is when the park really does shine. And I will say, Holiday in a Park at night with the lights on is beautiful. Yeah. Everything, there's a reason I let that video. For people who listen on audio, you're probably like, why the fuck did I have a 3-minute audio of a Christmas song? If you go back and watch it live on our Facebook picture and you actually see that promo, the beauty of the lights that they show there, and that's a 2016 promo somebody put together professionally, is all there right now. It's almost exactly the same as it is now, and it is beautiful, and it's gorgeous. I'm actually looking highly forward to going with my girlfriend on Thursday and going to the drive-through because it was that beautiful when we did a walkthrough, and the drive-through, all you could do is focus on the lights. So I'm actually looking really forward to it.
It was really cool seeing all the lights.
It was nice. Yeah, I will say they did a really good job there. However, we go back in one more time because I want that fucking Santa photo, and he's there. He's there. He's in there. We see people taking photos, and there's a sign up, and the queue line is down, and it says, he's about to go on a 45 fucking minute break. Fuck off and come back later. And we were like, this was the last thing we were doing. So we're like, we're out. However, they had a specialty cupcake food truck right there when you get out of Santa's thing. And it wasn't that expensive. They had like 10 special cupcakes that were amazing. I got a 4-pack. He got like 2. Holy fuck, they were amazing. So you know what? Fuck you, Santa. I got me a cupcake. I'm a fat kid. I was happy. It was all good, you know?
Did you get the pic with the elves?
No, it was with Santa. It was with Santa. You couldn't get him alone. I mean, I probably could have asked, but that's creepy. And I don't want to be the 51-year-old creepy guy, you know?
The professor of biology was there. They should have made an exception.
I'm too old to learn biology.
Yeah.
That's why you're the professor.
The one thing I'll say as we were exiting that was pretty cool is that they have their own little bar right where the snowman's ass is. They have their own little bar, and they have like 3 or 4 beers, but they also have spiked cocoa. It's like $11, so it's a little expensive, but they have like 5 things they'll spike it with. Nice. And I was like, if I'm an adult and I just dealt with 45 minutes of my fucking kids being assholes to each other at the Schmor's pit, that's a pretty cool way to go out, you know?
little Bailey's cocoa,
Yep.
Steve makes a good point there. I think we both noticed that day that the fire pits were strategically located near the bars.
Oh, totally. 100%.
Yeah. So,
and the first thing we did, it was freezing out. We got beers and we walked right over the fire pit and we sat there and drank our beers at the fire pit where a lot of employees were just huddling, which cracked us up, you know?
Yeah. At the same time, you would think that like most adults would like send their kids over to toast the s'mores while they sat there and drank at the bar, I can totally see.
I will say when we went over,
that's got to be miserable to work though. I mean, I remember just freezing our asses off in October.
And the best it
was so cold.
So you bring me into 2 things. Okay, that leads me. That's a perfect segue, Eddie. You didn't even know you were doing it. Okay, we got on. We're walking to the Jersey Devil coaster because we hear it's open and we can see it running. and I'm watching the employees. There's almost as many employees walking around at this point. And we got there at like 2:00, 1:00. There's almost as many employees walking around as guests. It was an awesome day for it. It was cold as fuck. So cold that I actually I have a thick coat that has fully electric lining for heat. And I decided not to wear it because I walked my dogs before we went. And I was like, oh, I got really warm quick. We're going to walk all day. I wore my thinner jacket. As soon as we got there, I bought this hoodie to go inside my jacket because I was like, I'm a pussy and I'm fucking cold right now. I was like, I need another one. So I was happy because I love this hoodie actually now. But we're watching all the employees walking by and they're all wearing a sweatshirt with this same thing on it. Okay, the holidays in the park. And none of them are wearing jackets. And I'm like, why the fuck do you think none of them are wearing jackets? And I think we saw 2 people the entire time we were there wear a fucking actual
and we were
jacket.
debating it. And it seems like they, it seems like, no, they wouldn't buy winter coats for them. I was like, they have to buy winter coats for them.
Yeah, Scott's like, they're choosing not to wear it. And I'm like, there's no fucking way. I guarantee they didn't buy winter coats. He's like, they're choosing not to. So we get on a Jersey Devil ride, and the dude there is wearing this sweatshirt and a hoodie under it. So they're all more than willing to talk. It's awesome. I love that the employees are just like, they're not like quiet. It's not like a Disney employee that's trying to hide a secret. They're like, they'll tell you fucking anything you ask, right? So we always open up with like, we worked here a long time ago. We're old men now, but we worked here back in the 90s for like 13 years. So we strike it up that way. So we feel like there's a bond, and then they spill. And the first guy that's exiting, I'm like, are you cold? And he goes, I'm cold as hell. I go, why aren't you wearing a lined jacket, man? The blue jackets, don't they give you the jackets anymore? When we worked here like 13 years ago, they would always upgrade us in the winter to a fleece line jacket. And he goes, oh yeah, no, we got to buy them now. They will let us payroll deduction it, but we have to buy a jacket if we want to upgrade. They only give us the sweatshirt. And I go, did they at least give you the hoodie under it? He goes, no, that's my hoodie. We got to wear our own hoodies under it if we want a double length. He's like, yeah, you can either wear the thin line jacket, or you could wear the sweatshirt they give you, or you could bring your own underneath, or you could buy it. That's some bullshit, man. They don't give bullshit. And they work until January 9th. Holy shit, man.
Like the last, which the uniforms for the supervisors, we got those nice jackets with the fleece inside.
Always.
For my last 2 years of soup, that was like a really nice.
I'm actually mad because I don't have mine anymore. I don't know what the fuck I did with it.
Oh,
but I don't
the
have
red
it.
coat? Oh.
No, I don't have it. I don't know where the fuck it went. I don't know what I did with it. I might have just gave it to charity or something one day. I might have just been like, fuck it, So I might have been non-nostalgic one year and be like, fuck that jacket. Fuck that part. I've been there 10 years. Yeah. But that one blew me away. And then here's the other thing that we found out from so while we were sitting drinking our beers at the Schmor's pit, right? Security guard is also walking over, and he's a younger dude. He's like mid-20s, maybe. Yeah. Real hip looking, cool looking dude, right? And he's sipping something, and I'm like, that's that spiked cider, isn't it? And he starts cracking up. He's like, nah, man, my boss is yelling at me. I'm not allowed to have the spiked stuff like you guys because we're drinking our beers, right? And I'm like, yeah. And I always do what I always do. I'm always like, we used to work here a long time ago. I'm like, hey, one of my old supervisors and rides was a white shirt in security back when I left in 97. I'm wondering if he's still here, man, Rich Giannone. And he goes, yeah, man, he's our everything. He runs everything. He's in charge of all of security now, which I didn't know Rich already went to the top. I always knew he was still there. I didn't know he was always at the top. Fucking Rich, who I love to death, is in charge of all of security now. Which I was like, that's so cool, man. Nice. And the dude, he was funny. He cracked me up. He's like, yeah, it's so weird, man, though, because, Rich is a great guy, and he's real straight edge and shit, though. But he's like, then you see him come with his family. He's always wearing shorts and shit. It's so weird to see him like that. And I was dying because I'm like, that was Giannone, totally,
Nice,
but yeah, so fucking, it's funny. It's weird because I always thought like, wow, man, I think the only contact I have left now that Nelia left is Robbie, but it's not. It's fucking Rich is still there too, which I didn't even think about. So that's kind of cool. I mean, I'm sure there's still some maintenance guys we do that are still there too. But I mean, as far as like people we worked with every day, it's cool to see that Rich is still there and that he went all the way up to the top. I think that's badass, What other observations did we make from our holiday in a park? Let's see. I put a bunch of shit down. So we already talked about it. It started in 2002. It was originally just Winter Lights drive-through display. That was it.
Where do you drive through? Like
The
where's
actual park.
drive-through part of it?
You drive
You're
through
in
the park.
So-
driving. They let
Yeah,
people
so you
drive
did
cars
not back
in the
then.
park.
Back then, when they first opened Winter Lights, that was out of the park. But now it's a drive-through in the park.
So
I don't know where the
Wow.
path is.
I
though.
will say,
Wow.
I mean, I never made it to full-time supervisor, so it was like every seasonal soup's wet dream to be able to ride their car through the park. So I may do it just to be able to drive
Just
my car
to
through the
do
park
it,
one
man.
day.
Yeah.
Like motherfucker, I didn't need to be a full-timer. Here, look at me. I'm driving through the park.
They got my
I
20
had to pay
bucks.
my
and-
$20, but I'm driving through the park.
Only
That's
took
true.
me 20 bucks.
That's true. Well, what's really weird is that when they did Winter Lights, and we're talking 2002, okay, they ran it from November 15th and they ran it all the way to January 1st, which is almost the same as the schedule they're following now. Because now Holiday in a Park runs November 13th through January 1st. So that's actually when you're in the park on the weekends and you're actually rides are open and shit, which is still crazy to me that that park is open until January 1st. Like that's fucking nutty.
It was always their dream to extend the season.
It's true,
so
and it's smart of them to do
good
it.
on them. Yeah.
The
So they're
drive
open 9 months a year now, basically.
yeah,
It's crazy.
And the drive-through part, which is weeknights from 5 to 10, is open November 15th. So 2 days after basically the first Monday after the weekends only of the Holiday in a Park. And that runs to the 9th of January. So that, and like
They
I
should have
said,
they should have
Yeah.
just put the lights up in the Safari.
well, here's the thing. I don't know if you know this
No,
too.
seriously, just
Safari-
drive through that.
No.
Swinging
Dude,
from the
Safari
lights.
just closed. Safari also runs all the way through December. Safari just closed. So this is for when we have a blank time between podcasts. I did a Safari drive-through with my girlfriend and it was fantastic.
nice.
but It's minimal amount of employees and it's open every weekday all the way up until December.
Wow.
And if you're a season's pass holder, it's totally free. So if you have like anybody in your car, it doesn't matter. You show your season pass and you go in. So we went and it's the
You run out
smartest
of
thing
gas.
because it's minimal staffing. All they have is one person at each gate and they have one
Yeah.
truck we saw driving around.
and the animals need to be out and about every day, regardless if people are there.
Exactly.
They gotta be fed. Yeah.
I mean,
so.
I always kind of remembered. I always thought they shipped most of them out when we were there, and I still think they might do that because they say not all animals will be out at all times. But I'll be honest, for the most part, every animal is out that we would expect
Wow.
to see. The bears, the monkeys, they're all out.
Steve, did you
Yeah.
see anything about not just the safari, but the park in general? If it were to snow, do they close? Like, what do they do? Or do they just go rain or shine?
I didn't see anything, but I have to
No.
assume that it's just like typical weather closing, where if it snows, they close.
Right.
I have to
yeah,
assume
I would
that's a
think, right?
I mean,
how
'cause-
the hell?
Well, it wouldn't be. First of all, it wouldn't be worth trying to get your employees there unsafe. And on top of
Yes.
it, how many guests are really going to show up?
I still can't believe the roller coasters are going. You went on them now.
Yeah.
We've heard plenty of people. I still can't believe it's 65 miles an hour.
I have
and
to tell you,
30-degree
it
weather.
wasn't as bad as we thought it was
Yeah.
going to be. It was
Nice,
actually pretty
nice.
enjoyable.
That's-
It was actually
that's
pretty
crazy.
enjoyable.
And the fact that there was no lines, it made it all that much more worthwhile because
Yeah.
you walk up.
Is it regular admission or what's the price to get in for that?
I think it's still regular admission. I don't think it's discounted.
Hmm.
I could be wrong, but I don't
Yeah.
think it's discounted. But like we upgraded after our first one to the season's passes, and they let us use that for this year and next year.
Yeah. It was
So we
it
don't
was
know
like-
anymore.
it
Yeah.
was like $1 to upgrade to a season pass.
Well, I
You
will
get in
say
there.
we
So-
it was expensive as fucking Fright Fest, man. I mean, it was like $150 a piece between
Wow,
the admission
wow.
and the actual Fright Fest, like the
Mhm.
exit thing. It was $150 a piece.
Yeah, that's
So-
universal price, man. That's
Yeah,
close
it was-
that's
it was
close to
pretty
universal.
Fucking
Wow.
high, dude. Yeah, it wasn't cheap,
But
man.
then to go from there to a season pass was like nothing. It was like the cost of like parking or whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, I got to throw this out. There's a photo. There's two photos that I put up from our holiday walkthrough. So in 150, okay, in the one the one Gotham City Gifts, okay, which is like kind of right next to where Movie City Water Effects was, okay, right next to Fest House, okay, right in front of
Yeah.
the old Showcase Theater, right underneath the wording, okay, above the entry door. There is, I'm looking, I'm seeing something. I'm like, what the fuck is that? What? That's weird. I walk closer. It is the top of a massive wasp nest. This thing is so fucking big. It is scary as shit. And it's the whole top is still there. So I took a photo of it, like when I was from a distance, I took a photo close up and then we walk in and the employee was so polite and talkative. insanely talkative. And he's like, I saw you taking a photo of the wasp nest. Was that what you were taking a photo of? I go, yeah. I go, we used to work here a long time ago, and those things would never get cleaned up. And he goes, oh, no. That thing sat here all year, stinging us and stinging the guests all year. We had it on our maintenance report every day. And then finally in the fall, they sprayed it. And they didn't even take the whole thing down. They just sprayed it and left it up there. And he goes, it was a very big, dangerous thing. I was dying, dude.
For the wasp to move back in next spring and do it all over again.
It's so fucking funny, though. You could see from the picture I took how big this fucking nest had to be. And he's like, yeah. And he's like, and they just left it up the whole summer. I was dying. I was like, that shit made my day. That's like the type of thing where you're like, oh, nothing changes. 20 years later, it's the same, you know? It's so great, man. All right, Scott made an observation that I made when I went with my family for the first time this year. The big wheel has removed one car from every section. So when you go to the big wheel, it looks weird because you could see a gap in every section. Now, I position that to be that they just don't know how to balance the motherfucker. So if they take a lot of the weight off of it, it's a lot easier to balance. Because I can't imagine they want less throughput.
That's not what
it has to be for balancing. But Scott thinks something different. What do you think?
I think it just makes it that much easier to park the bitch. Like, because you don't have to like get even, like exactly for 1 and 6 to be at the top of the platforms. Only 5 cars, you can park it anywhere in there, and it would be.
Wouldn't you think that?
Or somebody loading it, somebody fell.
And they were just like, fuck it, we'll just take off one from each section, and then we'll
less of a ramp. You don't have to walk down that ramp. I bet somebody fell.
Yeah,
I always go to lawsuits. Somebody fell.
Yeah.
Too much of a slope.
It's true. I don't know. It's a little weird though. We thought that was a little strange. That like we're like, oh, look at that. That's a little weird. And then it's hysterical as he pointed out too. And I was like, oh yeah, I just got done talking to my family about that. It's kind of funny.
Nice.
I will say games had quite a few holiday themed prizes in a lot of their things, and they were really cool. We put a lot of those pictures up, a lot of the game stuff. When we did our walkthrough both on Fright Fest and on the holiday thing, Andy, you should definitely check it out if you haven't seen it, because it's really hysterical, because we actually took a picture of every one of like, you know, studio, all of them. We went into all the games places and took pictures of the prizes, the back walls. I will say not one of them had more than one person working in there, except Skee Ball had 2. And Skee Ball was actually packed, but every other games area we went to, nobody playing them.
Like the quad tent.
Yeah, the quad tent game. So that old one that, you know, used to be right near the teacups, the secondary big one, the studio, there was one employee in there, and that was it. That was it. Like the Skee Ball had 2 employees in there, and their Skee Ball is actually packed with people playing games. None of the other games, though, including Game Squares, had anyone playing games. It's almost like that does not generate revenue anymore, which is really it was strange.
Well,
I mean
they would not staff something that generates money. Well,
it was
Did
weird.
you see some of the prices? I mean, I only went there like 3-4 years ago, but forget about playing a game for $1 or $2. It's all like $5,
like
to
$6.
play.
It is.
If the games aren't as likely to break down now, I wonder if also there's like that aspect where they don't need that much maintenance and like, you know, human intervention. I don't know.
I don't know. Weird though, but didn't want to leave out the games. Want to put the games in. Want to point out that we did finally put up the foods walkthrough. It is up. We actually compared it. This is a weird thing. We were going to compare it to 1997, like we did on the rides walkthrough that we did like many a podcast ago. However, the 1996 map that's out there, they didn't give a fuck about foods. There's no key for foods. You have to manually find every food stand on the map. That's the only place you can, and there's nothing else about foods on there. They just literally didn't care. All the new maps actually have it. So it was a little bizarre. We're still going to go back and try that to match it up. But what I did do is I matched every single food stand up to the current map, showed the location. So anyone that was in foods could easily say, oh, this used to be this, or this used to be that, or this doesn't clearly exist anymore by looking on the map.
Oh, yeah.
So that answered all the questions.
There was like a ridiculous amount of food stuff posted in the last month.
Yeah. Well, the other thing is, I will tell you, it's kind of funny. So the only person that knows foods is Chris. None of us gave a fuck about foods. We weren't involved in it. We were never going to work in it. I actually, when I got downsized, was offered a full-time position. Was like, nope, I'll go to the private sector. I'm out. Bye-bye, Six Flags. Thanks for the years. You know, I didn't want any part of it. But I also went plant-based in the day after Thanksgiving 2019. I went plant-based, and I haven't eaten meat since. So over 2 years now. And so for me, this was kind of fun to see. Every park is trying to, all the amusement parks, Disney, Hershey, they're all trying to like go, add those options, the vegan options, the plant-based options, to see what the park had. And they don't have a lot. I'll tell you, man. Like it was
cake.
tough. Yeah, I mean, no shit. Like there's salads everywhere for $13 for a tiny ass shaker salad, which is not filling. I will say at the Chop 6, they will have a vegetable stir fry. That is what I end up getting every time. But there's not a lot of options at Six Flags if you are, and there's also only one kosher place that's over near the Superman ride. That's
pizza.
No, I think it's called Dickie's. It's a chicken place. It kind of cracked me up. Yeah, or no, it's called Chickies. But otherwise, like they really don't. They have to up their foods game. I would say, like for the people with special needs, it's not really there. So that kind of shocked me a little bit. But to all the people asking about like, hey, you guys don't give a fuck about foods. We didn't, but I kind of do now. So we're trying. All right, we got it up there. All right, we are running. I can't believe we're already at our hour and a half already. So right before we sign off, I have one other topic I just want to hit real quick. I never got to do the full-time holiday shit. I got fucked on that shit. I got laid off right before it. He didn't either.
Oh, really?
You motherfuckers did.
What? I thought you did.
Man.
No, I got dick.
You missed out.
It was the greatest.
We're not supposed to tell you what happened, but no, it's great.
Yeah. Although the best one ever was when everybody got fired the next day.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a very Merry Christmas.
Exactly. It was like, oh my God.
Until after Christmas.
Are we
So
joking?
they did throw a very nice.
No, security lost like
year.
half their staff after one of them because they took a case of champagne that was supposed to be for the president's
that.
toast.
So they were going to have a big champagne toast.
I remember that.
Yes.
That's true. All right.
They took all the champagne out
that
of the
really
parking lot
happened.
and drank it ahead of time.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So I will leave with this. Andy, you had sent us a picture earlier and that was from one of those holiday parties, right?
Yeah, they would do pictures every year with Santa.
We couldn't even Santa kept taking a dump on us, and you get a picture of Santa.
Now we know
there was no line.
Put that picture up.
Were the holiday parties good? If you're a full timer, were they actually?
Yeah, no, they were
good?
real nice. They do a nice dinner, and they would do same thing, open bar and champagne, and they'd have all these door prizes and stuff they would give away all night. Yeah.
For some reason, I remember, was it Vans? I think that they did it
Vans.
a lot of times,
We
right?
did it the two times I went. It was at Vans.
Yeah, it was a nice place.
Freehold.
Yeah, no, good food, nice place.
Vans is nice. Yeah, my door prize was like booting my ass a couple months before.
I never got a door prize. I never made it to full time. So
I still have the Christmas ornaments on my tree, and they'd give you a Christmas ornament every year, a Looney Tunes ornament.
That's pretty sweet. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
All right, boys. Well, we don't want to keep our technician Chris hold up any longer. So, Jesus Christ, man, time flies when you're having fun, man. This has been a lot of fun, boys. I love you guys.
Love you too.
It feels like it's been forever, even though we only took a month off. It's crazy. Thanks to everyone who joined us live on Facebook. I couldn't see shit you said. Chris didn't tell us anything you said, so I don't know what the hell's going on there. But
Danny still hates Six Flags, even though he goes there a lot. You didn't miss much.
Check it all out later.
Hi, Debbie.
I'll look at all that later. So obviously, thanks to everybody that joined us on Facebook Live. And thanks to everyone that listens to us babble audio version later on. We appreciate it. We have a lot of interesting subjects that have been brewing for 2022. We're not done yet. We still have some topics we're thinking about speaking on. So there's a lot more to come. We'll keep you all posted. But signing off for now, I'm Steve Hicks. My co-hosts are
Scott Loudon,
Chris Peluso,
Andy Oletti.
All right, boys. Till next time. Happy holidays, everybody. Make it a great day.
Happy
Bye,
holidays,
guys.
everyone.
Merry Christmas. Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas. Happy holidays.